really know what's going on over there other than everybody's dumb.
The instant you step out of line, you say something that they don't like and they don't like you personally, they're going to use all those pre-existing laws and they're going to use it on you.
Woman exposed her male genitalia to women and underage girls. That's what happened.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way. It's super cringe.
Know anymore, dude. Just don't know anymore, dude. How are you?
You know, maintaining. There's a lot going on. There's a Trump rally coming up, so I might go to that.
Oh, you're gonna go to that? About. There's no way you're not going to that.
See if people are still on the Trump train, or if they want to talk about DeSantis, or if maybe they're
trusting the plan.
Yeah. So we shall see. That's on Friday, I think, and he postponed it because of I always get him confused. I know this is bad, but Ivana, not Ivanka, not his daughter, but his. So he postponed it. But yeah, other than that, not too bad. It's not quite as hot. It's not 114 anymore. So I guess a step in the right direction. Yeah.
It was too hot yesterday. I went to a batting cage, got wrecked by the sun, ate a buffet afterwards, of course, as you will. Came home, my hand was a little bit blistered. I thought, why not, pick the blister off? And now I'm shadow of myself. But I'm polysporined up and I'm ready to go here. Lesson of the day is that pitches are really fast and 60. The thing about playing baseball is you can kind of see, I used to play baseball, you can see the pitcher wind up, but when the machine gives you no instance of when it's actually going to throw the ball at you or fire the ball at you, it's very hard.
So you got to get the timing down, I guess.
Yeah, but like every pitch is the same time. I don't know. It's stupid. Then you got these guys who show up with like huge bags and they're putting water bottles in the fence, like with the little holder, but they're only doing it at like 50 miles per hour, which is like, there's some disconnect there. If you're coming to the batting cages so often that you're bringing like all this gear, but you suck, there's like a big disconnect there. And I feel like that's probably not the place for you.
You got to crank it up to 95.
It only goes up to 80 there, surprisingly. Okay. And I've only done that once last year. Spent a good time there. Like it went a couple times. It wasn't last year. It was years ago. I don't know why I said that. But let it be known that it's not a walk in the park, to say the least, if you don't go for a while.
Wait, and just out of curiosity, the blisters, though, that's from the bat, not from like being sunburned or anything.
Right. No. Okay. I did watch that movie with Zac Efron called Gold, though, and he gets a lot of sunburn blisters. Decent movie, but you'll also find yourself like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you laying in the middle of the sun all day? Why didn't you gather all your firewood the first day instead of doing it every single day?
Never even heard of that movie. Never even heard of that movie.
It's on Amazon Prime.
I have only been sunburned once in my life, and that was in Florida. The sun is different in Florida. I don't know. They have a different sun than the rest of us, but yeah, neither here nor there.
They have different gods there, too, I believe. The sun god, the moon god. And our other god, Lia Thomas, is back. I think we had 8 straight weeks of he/him, sure him. And then a week off, and then a 9th week, and then another week off, and then he came back. But now he's back again. Like Star Wars, they just have to keep reiterating him to the new audience so the children don't forget. And we'll go ahead and bring this up if I remember how to operate the system.
For the record, the weeks that we didn't have anything about Lia, we just had to do Drag Queen Story Hour and others. So
we were lost.
That far off. It wasn't that far off, I feel like. But
we were just lost without him. I'm all alone. I'm so lost without you. UPenn nominates transgender swimmer Lia Thomas as 2022 Woman of the Year. No truer words have ever been spoken. This is from the Blaze's whom? Paul Saka. Polarizing transgender swimmer Lia Thomas was nominated for the 2022 Woman of the Year award by the University of Pennsylvania. The NCAA made a controversial announcement on Thursday. Now, at this point, Eric, I'll just read a bit more. NCAA noted that the Woman of the Year award was established in 91 and honors the academic achievements, athletics excellence, community service, and leadership of graduating female college athletes from all three divisions. Eric, at this point, I think Penn is just saying, how can we get more publicity about our school? No?
I yeah, of course. They definitely, just like the one of the teammates said, well, yeah, like of course Leah helps us win because, well, it's obvious why. But I think this is just a middle finger, bro. It's just a straight up middle finger to really college women, college girls, or whatever. But to just to the general sensibilities of regular people, it's just they're just doubling, tripling down, putting it right in your face. We already saw Caitlyn got was Sports Illustrated or something like that, Woman of the Year. So you have millions of women, okay, maybe not millions at the university, thousands of women that you could possibly choose from, but they would rather tell you that no, we're doing it this way. We're gonna give it to a and look, we covered we covered this ad nauseum, right? When the teammate said it was uncomfortable seeing Leah's very female penis in the locker room. So they're just jamming it in your face and letting you know that they truly do not care what you think. This is the agenda. And as bad as this sounds, I don't want to get us banned again, but it's basically a war, bro. They're telling you no, that women don't even exist until we do the abortion thing. Then they kind of exist, but they even flip flop on that, talking about the non-binary stuff, it's really insulting, bro. It's insulting to our intelligence, but it's also insulting to women who could now. It'll be a completely different story if Leah actually wins. I'm sure we'll get there soon enough, but it's insulting to us. It's insulting to our intelligence, and it's insulting to college women. Period.
Well, Eric, I think this next part will cheer you up. Schools may nominate up to 2 female student athletes, but only if at least one of them is an international student athlete or student athlete of color.
That does cheer me up. You're right.
Student athlete of color. 1956, we would say student colored athlete. 2022, student athlete of color. Not bad for some reason. Both gross to me. I'd say to anybody who didn't, who wasn't born 2017 and beyond, it's gross too. But now, as long as your nominee wasn't born here or is non-white, University of Pennsylvania only nominated Thomas for Woman of the Year in the category of swimming and diving. So what? They don't get extra points for nominating a transgender person, Eric? That seems bigoted.
Well, I
We
thought
have to change that in the future.
in the earlier paragraph, it didn't have something to do with like community service and academics, but this is just for swimming.
It could be any of those things.
Okay, so you don't have to. It's not like I was under the impression it was maybe sort of like a well-rounded thing. Like you're good at swimming, you also uh, did community service with the sorority. Which, and by the way, would Leah be able to get into a sorority, or are we not?
Hopefully.
Are sororities defunct? Do they not even exist anymore? I don't know, but
They're sexist. You could nominate people, but more than one person. But if you want to nominate 2 female athletes, then one of them has to be foreign or non-white. The nominees get whittled down to 9 candidates. Then they determine who has the biggest penis. Of course, Lia Thomas, who's the greatest female swimmer of all time, or one of them, was ranked 462nd best female. Eric, if a guy comes in 462nd and then the next year wins the Tour de France at the age of through in the 3rd year of the career, you would say that they're on steroids. But for women swimming, it's just out of love, I guess. Like you go and visit the Care Bears, they stare at you with their chest, and they make you more happy and wonderful, and you win state records and such, and you crush losing only to who, Eric Butler? Do you recall of TatumReport.com?
I do not.
Losing only to The woman who is transitioning into a man that one time, if you recall.
Oh, okay. I do remember that now.
That's right. Don't you
the
forget it, bigot.
the old switcheroo, because this is the world we're in. But I'm just genuinely curious. Does this not okay? We hear maybe this is a little bit off base here, but we hear a lot about cultural appropriation. Last week the woman from Friends did a little apology to, or the co-creator of
From
Friends did a
what,
little.
Eric? From
The
France?
Friends, Friends, Friends.
Where?
Is that
Who have you been hanging out with?
what did I? Okay, we're gonna have to run the tape back. I don't feel like that was weird, but
France? Oh, I
the
was watching France.
I definitely, for the record, you know me. Seinfeld is obviously light years better than
yes. Yes.
Friends. Friends.
Friends.
But the point I'm trying to make here is we hear about cultural appropriation and racism and stuff. Obviously, I think even Gwen Stefani was in the news recently because she did a reggae song and she wore dreadlocks or something with Sean Paul, who is. So it's not like she just went out and did it on her
and
own.
no doubt had 2 Jamaican guys in it for the last few years. He was active.
Doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make here is, why is this not appropriation? I mean, why? I mean, you can run around and pretend to be a woman and start winning stuff, and it's brave and beautiful. But if a white woman does her hair a certain way, then that's frowned upon.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that not similar?
The point is that women don't matter anymore. If they're getting in the way of the progressive agenda, then they don't matter. If they are helping the progressive agenda, like in the abortion debate, no matter how you feel about that, then they all of a sudden do matter again, and you're taking away women's rights, and not just birthing peoples and peoples with uteruses.
People with the capacity for pregnancy.
You might say that as well. You might say that the Democrats and the far left like to use groups of people to their advantage, whether they be women,
or black people,
black peoples, and non-heterosexual people. It's almost as if they care more about the power than the actual plight itself. Somebody who cares a lot about power eating is this person who wants Hooters servers to be larger. Model, and we're using that colloquially. I'm going to sound so mean, but I just, at this point, we're in 2022. Somebody has to say the obvious things. Eric Butler, TatumReport.com. Model calls for curvier Hooters servers and sexy shoot with hot wings. This Andrew Court guy better be kidding here. Sexy shoot suit. She's wearing what appears to be a warning flag from a NASCAR race. And a Hooters that's meant for 2 people to wear. I'm so mean, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm not saying I'm in good shape at all, but come on, I'm not wearing that. And eating wings because it's the hot thing to do. She gives a hoot about plus size representation. All right, now Andrew Court.
Okay.
Now we've gone a little too far. You're ruining my name. We'll look into him after. Body positivity advocate, is that what that is calling for Hooters to hire curvier waitresses and amid accusations that the racy restaurant prefers slimmer servers to sling wings. That's strange, Eric. I never knew that Hooters preferred slimmer women. So that's why we opened that article ahead of time to figure out what the hell they're talking about. And if New York Post wants to load here,
it just
article? No, wrong one.
Has like this big blank spot at the top. I don't know.
Yeah, they're really glitching out there. Check that out. New York Post, we're showing you that because it's glitching out. Plus size Hooters and booty shorts spark debate. We are sexy and confident. And
that doesn't make you hot. That does not. I mean, you could be. I mean, sexy is up for debate. There's a market for everything. We know that there's a lot of chubby chasers out there. No shade.
It divides social media. So into women and men, I'm guessing. They're serving up thick thighs, breasted wings, and the thick girls want in. Fried chicken Jane Hooters is in the thick of yet another social media beef. Okay, that's too much. Is this the same guy? Asia Grace. No, we're sticking with Andrew this time. Andrew Court, reviewing author archive. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Oh, no Twitter connected. That's Sly MFer. But the busty redhead isn't employed by the franchise. She ordered the outfit off Amazon. I don't work for Hooters. I stand to gain nothing. But let me just make this all about me and my obesity, and as to why Hooters, a place that's meant to, subject women to greasy dudes wanting to eat greasy food. Like, you just can't have a business the way you want it anymore. It doesn't make any sense. You can't just have a restaurant that wants one thing without everybody like saying, "Oh, you should be running your business the way I see it." Like, why don't you
Yeah.
just make a fat Hooters? Why don't you make it? Eric, help me out here. You're a comedian.
Well,
What would the fat Hooters be called?
but well,
Pterodactyls,
or it
woolly
could just,
mammoths.
I don't know. We can go with like maybe a sea mammal or something. But first of all, yeah, like you said, like what's next? Like, well, Hooters, they shouldn't serve wings. It should be a salad
Oh my
buffet.
God.
Like where does it stop to the point where you're telling people how to run their business? And I think this article is already just full of euphemisms, like model calls. Obviously, we're using the term model very loosely, but curvier.
Exactly.
Like, come on, like give me a break, bro. We can talk about curvy and maybe the Kim Kardashian body type, or I don't know, Anna Nicole Smith, or I don't even know what's considered curvy, but that is obviously just
Nicole
a
Smith.
fat woman. It's not. We're not
You can't say that.
like curvy. Oh no, curvy is Look,
Well,
I,
this is
I,
how
I
deep they have to dig to find like supporters. Plus size Hooter girls, very interesting. An intrigued Twitter user wrote, like you're doing weak ass journalism when just random tweets are enough for you. And this goes out to all of you journalists there. Like, if you have to find strange accounts who are not of people of note in order to find something that agrees with you, that means it's not news. It means it's not like a point where you like that's basically just saying I can write anything, and so long as one person agrees with it, then you could say, oh, this is the point of view of several people or more than one people. And it's what a lot of people who are bad writers do.
and
But the
that's
band of
but
bosom beauties from Hadesburg, Mississippi isn't employed by Hooters. In fact, they were only wearing the brand's titillating togs as a group in a Halloween costume.
But
What does
that's
this
what this
even
is all
mean?
about, though. That's and we've seen this for a number of years now. Like one tweet is enough to get a business canceled, right? That's the whole point. Is like one tweet with one retweet and 3 likes and one spam comment is enough
Well,
to
look what they
pretend.
did. This woman has 4,000 followers, and the New York Post reached out to them and they said, my girls and I wanted to make a statement with our Halloween look this year. So this guy or this girl just saw this picture and was like, I'm going to message this random girl who dressed up for Halloween and make her the subject of 2 attractive young gentlemen on a podcast making fun of them. So what they've done, and I talked about this with Ryan Long recently, how they just purposely set these people up for failure and then wonder why. Oh, I wonder why people don't like this stuff. We're just putting them out there and trying to ruin their lives. And people do end up, falling into a dark place, to quote Kanye West on this sort of stuff. There's some show he was telling me about in that interview where they put 2 girls on this reality show and they ended up committing suicide because the backlash was so big because it's a reality show and they don't usually have like bigger people on them. And they got made fun of so bad that they took their own lives. And this is what they're being set up. You're being set up for failure when you're just like, well, you couldn't possibly have a problem with this. Like, give me a break.
I mean, it's another business idea. It's a different one. I think like was it in Portland
That's fair.
or Seattle where they have like the bikini coffee waitresses or something. I don't. It probably doesn't even exist anymore. But what they have here is a completely different idea. Like I said, you don't go to Hooters and say, "Well, what if you guys just switch to make it a pizza place? Make it dude. They're famous for wings and top heavy women that aren't morbidly obese. It's a very specific thing. And on top of all that, why? I mean, these women or this woman, whatever her name is, the main girl, um, she's just out to like cancel somebody. I mean, since when? And no shade to any Hooters waitresses, everybody's got to make a living. But since when is Hooters the place that you really just want to work? Like, Oh, I mean, is this something that
Yeah,
you're gonna
really.
write home to mom? Like, I finally got the job at Hooters that I've always been wanting. It's like, what? Like, why are you even
Probably make
after
good
this so
tips.
much? And I'm sure they do, but is that I they might make good tips. I don't know. It depends on the
Does that
city
make
and
it
probably,
like
but is
no,
that
it's
something
not
that's like
like
a real proud moment for your life? Like, yes, I'm
no, it's
finally at
like
Hooters. No.
when strippers say, "I'm just doing it because the money's great."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So she doesn't really care about this. She's just trying to get some she's trying to get a scalp basically and just, and call these people out and make people angry and
well, I blame
you
the
know
writer who reached out to these people and thought this was a story. I really blame them, and then I blame my namesake Andrew, whatever, who luckily didn't connect his name to this story
and the
for
post the
perpetuating it.
post overall,
Hmm.
I mean, because they really are like the New York Post. I believe it's one of the oldest publications in the country, right?
Hmm.
um and they are truly all over the place. Like, I guess that's a good thing, right? They write absolute trash clickbait nonsense, but then they also were among the first to break the Hunter Biden story, so, and everything in between. So I mean, I was in the Post right when they got my good side when I was arrested protesting lockdown. So they do good work from time to time, but it's just when this 24-hour nonstop media, uh, news media thing, they have to reach out for anything. So a fat chick who is just dying to be a Hooters waitress now becomes a story.
Well, the Daily Mail also does that sort of stuff where they publish like everything as long as they think it's getting clicks, then they'll do
Hmm.
it. I don't know. Sometimes the Daily Mail is really good at. My friend looks at them like every day because they don't just find like good articles or like things that people click on. They find the most insane things. Like one the other day was, I forget what sport it was. I think it was professional baseball, but professional athlete stabbed to death at um,
In
gas
California,
station by
yeah.
homeless person.
It was a NASCAR. It was a race. Like, I don't know if it was.
NASCAR. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the
Yeah.
right. That's the right story. See, it's a great story. Sad, but like they found that in England. They're just scouring the internets. The internets. Remember George Bush?
The
I've been
internet.
hearing rumors on the internets.
Um, and just a shout out to the Daily Mail for, of course, having the longest headlines in the entire media landscape. It'll be like, like a full 3 sentence paragraph as the headline, and then they'll
Subheader
write like
one, two, and three.
yeah, exactly. Oh, this is
You told me about this one. Thousands of New York City monkeypox vaccine appointments filled in just 7 minutes. So I think I might have said on this show a couple months ago when monkeypox was first announced that America immediately lined up to buy a vaccine. I believe it's German. Or was it the Germans that somebody immediately went for the vaccine and they're going to sell it if they can. 9,200 appointments in 7 minutes, Eric, on a Friday night. How do you feel about that?
to be honest with you, I think there's something very fishy about this story. It doesn't ring true, and they are admitting that this is mostly being passed around by gay guys. And the article is actually it's absolutely full of nonsense about how Eric Adams says we need more. This is just not enough. It's like, you just told us the specific demographic that is dealing with this. You're pretending that people are just, so they're sort of marketing this thing like, look how high this demand is. You want it too, right? Everybody else wants it. You gotta get in line also. You're gonna want this, right? After we just did more than 2 years of Rona stuff, they just waste no time in doing it again. But one thing that really gets me about this is if you can scroll down a little bit, I think it's towards the end of the article where they say, yeah, after they break down this, so you can go to these places to get it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you got to just figure out where to get it. But my favorite part is where they say, in exactly, gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men. What? Who wrote this?
Pansexual, polyamorous, you know.
So it's so clearly trying to be like a woke thing, like, yeah, it's mostly gay guys, but also bisexual guys and any other men who are having sex with men but aren't gay. they're all lined up. We sold out in 7 minutes. It's like they're trying to sell it like a pair of Yeezys or a pair of Jordans or something. Like they just sold out so quickly. And them saying, I don't know why this triggers me so much, but gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men. So you're telling me that you're having sex with a man as a man, but you're not gay? I mean, we already discussed the bisexual thing, which I'll cool it on right now, but it's nonsense. So who are these other men? And that basically discredits your entire article, in my opinion, because it's
Yeah,
not that's nonsense.
Yeah, but Eric, I think this was just a person who might have. This is my theory. This is just a person who's writing this, that they write for an ABC affiliate, so they know they have to include that sort of thing, but they're also too lazy to go and find out which ones they should be including. Should I be including polyamorous? Should I be including two gender spirit questioning? Should I be including queer questioning, or what, or the plus symbol? I don't know. I'm just gonna say other men who have sex with men. Gay and bisexual, I think, and you probably think, covers it. But when we get into other men who have sex with men, why even mention that though? Now that I'm rereading it, it's social networks of men who have sex with men, men who have sex with women and men, and then other men who also have sex with men.
It doesn't make any sense, bro, and that's why
Eric, it's not for us to know. All right.
But that to me invalidates the entire article. All this 9,200 or 7 minutes. Like, no, dude, I don't really believe it. And I talked to a handful of my friends in New York, and I don't know how else to put this, but I think it's just fake. Like the media is convincing us that people are falling for this all over again. But I can almost guarantee you can go to the East Village or whatever is like the gay neighborhood in Manhattan, and I would put my money on the idea that maybe 2 out of 10 guys are going to say, "Oh yeah, I'm super scared about the monkeypox," but most people aren't buying it. It's just the media force feeding it to us, just like the media is they're gonna force feed you everything. They're gonna force feed you Lia Thomas. You're never gonna. I mean, it's an information
LA
war.
County's bringing LA County's bringing back masking. I read, which is good. It's good and safe.
So they're ahead of Canada, right? I mean, because you guys aren't.
Yes.
I mean, is the Toronto metro area? It's done, right? Or
There's no masking, but we still have the stupid travel laws. So, if you're not vaccinated, you still have to have quarantine upon return because it's so dangerous. It's not over. We're in the 9th wave. Yes, I read the other day a writer say we're in the midst of the 9th wave, and
this is a Saturday Night Live.
And you know that a person like believes in it if they don't say the doctors say it's a 9th wave or what is a so-called 9th wave. That's how you know a person who is writing for a mainstream publication called CP24. It's what I call quick propaganda because it's like one of those like news ticker channels basically, but they have like one corner of it is video. He writes and he goes, and this is happening as we are in the middle of the 9th wave of coronavirus with cases going up daily, and it's like nobody cares.
The ninth wave. It sounds like a hip hop producer.
It's just like it only works where it works. You know what I mean? Like you can only say these things where it works, and right now Canada's like the only place where it works.
So are you guys not doing monkeypox? I mean, because Fauci's been back out.
Monkeypox.
Okay,
we're doing that. It's still dangerous, and I don't know if you read this. That we no longer have a definition for fully vaccinated. We've eliminated that. We've now gone to up to date, and they suggest every 9 months getting a booster shot. So you'll never be fully vaccinated. There's no such term anymore for us. It's are you up to date having a shot every 9 months?
Well,
that's where we stand, Eric. And I think that's fair.
I can almost at least give credit for them just sticking to the script and just hammering it home. We've switched to monkeypox, and Eric Adams says they need more. And of course, Senator Scott Wiener of California, the creepiest man in all of American politics, says that. And he even says the government is failing our LGBTQ community because they're not pushing out enough monkeypox vaccines. So we are kind of switching back and forth, like, oh, it's monkeypox today. Oh, it's the BA2 plus variant tomorrow, and
It's
they're going
true, it
back and
is.
forth. So it makes it completely, it makes it far less believable. But at least with you guys, if you're not doing the monkeypox, at least it kind of makes sense that they're just sticking with it. They're gonna hammer it home until you just submit. Now we're throwing all kinds of things at the wall. Racism has become. I think it was there's several cities that have done it. I think New York did it, but also Oakland, not San Francisco, but
The
Oakland has declared.
racial emergency.
Yeah, racism is a public health crisis, so they're
Right.
just throwing everything at the wall. But at least it sounds like you guys are sticking to it, so I, I can give them half a percentage point of credit, I guess. I don't know.
Well, what I was going to say is the reasons why we're not doing the monkeypox thing is one, because coronavirus is still working in terms of travel mandates, because they don't want you to leave, because communist governments don't like it when you leave and do business elsewhere. But also, I don't think the news cycle in Canada has the capacity for a second thing. So we got to focus on what's working. We got to focus on one thing. However, one of the doctors for my province, for Ontario, the lead doctor, I should say, they were asking him about it recently, because as you know, they're just approving the shot for younger and younger, and the Health Canada said that I think it's 5 to 11 or 6 to 12-year-olds got to get it. It's the best thing for them, and they actually said that it's still at risk. And I don't even know if how can I say this on YouTube. Getting a big pack of Smarties is a highest risk for heart problems for young men, and it's 1 in 5,000 chance that getting a too big a pack of Smarties will cause myocarditis. So he actually said that, and they were just like, "Well, why wouldn't you just recommend it for everybody?" Said a reporter. "I can't believe you wouldn't recommend it for everybody," because he said for healthy young people, you probably don't need it. And then he explained the statistics there, which was surprising. Also referred to the pack of Smarties as a therapeutic and not a pack of Smarties, which was also interesting.
Which is similar to something that we're dealing with here as well, because there's an ABC story, a mainstream story that said people that have menstrual cycles, not women, people who have
Fair
menstrual
already.
cycles, and this is kind of a similar thing to what we see with the gay men, bisexual, and other men. They're wedging this woke
The
stuff
other
in.
one.
So people who have menstrual cycles have experienced 42% or
Right.
42% of people with menstrual cycles have experienced heavier bleeding after
Right.
getting getting the
Which is
thing.
perfectly fine. That just means you're healthier, and
It's
it's increased blood flow, I think, is what
yeah,
it
your
gets.
body's expelling the Rona toxins at
That's
a,
right.
at a
I got
greater
a
pace.
I got a bone to pick with Coca-Cola here. They're the wokest company ever, but I picked this up at the gas station earlier. It's called Starlight Limited Edition. I don't know what that means. It's space inspired. They're really running out of ideas here. If it's not like rainbow flags or like the black and brown flags, like black owned, then like inspired by space. Speaking of that, also Eric Butler of TatumReport.com, report and opine on Instagram and everything else. Went to a local mall the other day, town over. A store in there just said a store like owned by black people, basically, is what the name of the store was. It was like black owned art something store, and it's just like that makes me not want to go in there. Not because of the race of the person, because if your selling point is your skin color, I don't trust you to do anything good. If I opened an ice cream store and it was titled as white guy product, and I didn't mention what was in the store, maybe I'd focus on, you know what? Some people have rewards for ice cream. Some people make the best cold stone cones that you possibly can. But I was born a certain skin color. Buy from me. Starlight,
But
everybody.
if you don't, I don't know how you can drink that stuff. It's like so sugary. And anyways,
It's actually sugar free, Eric Butler.
oh, those are worse. The like the NutraSweet taste. Anyways,
Aspartame, Eric Butler.
the
Okay?
the
Really
racial
kill ya.
the racial store, they're playing chess,
Yes.
because as soon as when they go
I'm
6
gonna look
months
it
and
up
don't
for
sell
you.
anything, when they go 6 months and don't sell anything, they can just say it's racist.
Preach.
So That's the
right.
thing. So then they're going to get some headlines for saying, "Oh, black owned, black pottery store, whatever. What is it?"
Should I out them?
No, we don't
Can-
even need to give them
Okay,
any.
it just says black in the title. It says black owned, Canada, and then black owned, and then
Okay,
something
so
else that I won't say. It's weird.
so
It's very weird.
I'm just gonna call it a pottery store, like black pottery barn or whatever. So when like I said, 6 or 8 months rolls around and they don't, and they're not able to pay their bills and they can't pay their employees, they'll just say they'll run the story about how racist the city is or the suburb or whatever that it's in, and then maybe
This
that
is
will
so
get
weird.
them. Yeah,
I'm on their
so
website. It says Happy Father's Day and Juneteenth. um, become part of the Black Wall Street of Canada movement. And then further down says supporting local black owned businesses, quote, created by us for everyone.
okay, well, maybe just make a good product. Maybe you could just
I
make a
don't get
decent
it.
product.
But they do celebrate Canada Day, which is good. I don't understand, Eric.
And they're
Butler.
also celebrating, but they're also celebrating Juneteenth, which, as I understand it, is
But we didn't have slavery in Canada.
exactly that's what I'm saying. So Juneteenth is like distinctly American,
Yes.
right? Like so,
Canada's where the slaves came to escape slavery. It's all very
So-
confusing.
yeah. Well,
But Justin
we gotta-
Trudeau, since we're talking about Canada, he has changed his kit on NBA 2K22 for my league. Justin Trudeau's new haircut draws
oh,
comparison
I
to Jim
like
Carrey's
this.
Dumb and Dumber look. It is a very
Oh.
bad haircut. Maybe this should have been the thumbnail instead of the Hooters Girls, and it would have made people click on it more. But,
This is pretty
It's a very
funny.
bad haircut. I don't know why he did this. He looks better with his grizzled beard. But summertime, he's getting yelled at a lot. So I should find this video, Eric. I put it on my Twitter. I'll find it in a second. But it's actually just images. So Justin Trudeau was at a restaurant in Quebec, in the French-speaking territory, and he chooses to go to this restaurant. He sits on the patio. He not only sits on the patio, he sits in the seat that's closest to the road. So he's sitting there, like begging for photo ops, basically.
Mhm.
And then one of our reporters, Alexa, the French girl, Alexa Lavoie, she starts like posing questions to him. Of course, he's just like, please leave me alone. Isn't it obvious that I don't want to be bothered as I'm sitting on the corner of a patio next to the street?
Bro, you're the prime
And what
minister. Like,
I know, right? And here's what he does. I found this. Hopefully it's loading there. Yeah, okay. So here's what happens. So here's the first picture of the frame I took. So this is where he's sitting and he's like, please don't bother me. And as he's being asked questions, what does his friend do? His friend pushes the plant in front of his face to pretend as if he's not there. It's so pathetic. And they're just like, oh, we'll just cover him with a plant there. And then what was the reason his crack security team gave? You can't just stroll down the street like that, is what they said as to why you can't be here. So they're kicking people off the sidewalk in front of it because they said it's a municipal bylaw infraction that you can't walk around the streets. You can't just stroll down the street. And they're saying that's a bylaw.
but okay, he's sitting on the patio, clearly
Yeah.
visible. I mean, he wanted to talk to he didn't want to talk to Rebel. He didn't want to talk to anybody who was gonna. He wanted to
Exactly.
assault. Like, what did he think was gonna happen? And this was before he got the haircut. It looks like, by the way.
Yes, exactly.
This guy is such a scumbag, bro. These people, I mean, their whole racket, their control is just slipping away. It's showing, and it's actually pathetic, bro. Like, you're the prime minister, and you don't expect people to, especially after what the past 2.5 or 3 years or whatever it's been by now. Like, okay, I guess the point I'm trying to make is if people actually, and maybe there are people that like it. I don't know. I'm like, what is it like there? Is the media just telling us that people actually like him? Or are there really
Yeah.
supporters here who say, this guy's
lot
done
of-
great for our country?
A lot of old people and I'm sorry to say it, and a lot of people have the mindset of a boomer, think that he's just doing the best that he can. Coronavirus was tough, and he's just doing what he can, and he just wants to take care of everybody. And
Yeah,
they don't pay
right.
attention to anything, so they think being a liberal is what being a liberal used to mean, if you ask some people. And the people on the East Coast and some French people and some other people love Justin Trudeau. But it's only truly a third. All you have to do is have a third of the country on your side to become the prime minister in Canada. The winning margin's always like 33% of the vote. So this
And
is
isn't this the
Alexa just
chick
being
who
like
she looks a little
got pepper
disheveled?
sprayed.
Oh, okay,
She's
is that
been
what
pepper
happened?
sprayed before. She's been shot with a gas canister in the leg. Justin Trudeau mocked her at the debates. And so she probably is sick and tired of Justin Trudeau's people being like, let's give you stupid excuses. Because he just keeps saying you can't stand here. He doesn't answer. So it's you. Why are you bothering asking the prime minister questions? He's not going to answer you, bro. Like that's the excuse they give now. Is like, why are you even trying? Like, he's not going to
Yeah,
answer you. What's the point?
and that's so I see some of these guys. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I'm looking at some of these like these like super like, yeah, man, like we all just need to talk and we need to, it's just like we can reach out to each other, and it's like, don't you realize that that's exactly, I mean, look, I'd say you just as well as I am are open to conversations with anybody. I mean, you brought on Hawk, we talked kind of, but don't you realize that this is a perfect example of exactly like saying, well, if we can just find some common ground and have a conversation, that is exactly what they're trying to avoid. There's no
Yeah, they don't
there
allow that in Canada.
yeah,
There's no questions.
you don't get a conversation. That's if anybody, I mean, you could talk about Eric Adams, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There is no conversation to be had. That's the entire point. So when I hear these guys who think they're so groundbreaking saying, "Well, we just need to, you know, uh, to reach across," and it's like, dude, I'm willing to reach across. You need to tell them to. I mean, we have the squeaky pigs and we have the people screaming like my choice, my choice. All these viral videos. It's like, don't you realize that the one thing they are trying to avoid is the conversation? Even these hearings where Josh Hawley and that weird Berkeley lady, they
Yeah,
don't even
where
answer the questions
none
that
of
he
them do.
asked.
No.
No, they answer. They just start rambling about other things that fits their narrative, and that's the point. So it just it uh, it doesn't really matter. I'm just getting off on a tangent here, but it's just like so funny to me when I hear like these fence sitting people talk about, well, we just need to have a conversation. You're like, dude, that's the one thing they would never want to have. You hear it all the time. It's become a meme. Debate me. Ben Shapiro wants to debate AOC. All the conservatives want
Okay,
to
here's the
debate,
deal.
but it's never going to happen. And that's the point.
Well, this weird thing that we have up here now is, the people who still wear masks and everything and are still afraid of things. I get it if that's how you truly feel. I don't get it, but if that's how you truly feel, then that's fine. As long as you're not affecting me. Um, but it's like I listened to the government for 2 years, and now the government's saying I don't have to wear a mask and all this, that, and the other. But now I don't believe them. So, like I was saying with that press conference with that doctor, he says that I'm not recommending it for everybody. And this woman who's a reporter's like, "Well, why aren't you recommending it for everybody?" Like she's been sitting there listening to this guy for 2 years say what she, I guess, wants him to say. And now that the authority, who you held as an authority on this topic, is changing their tune, you disagree with them. So
Yeah.
now, so for 2 years, this person knew so much more about this than you, but now you're in a position to know more about them, and you don't trust them because they're no longer telling you the propaganda. That's
Yep.
really, really weird. It's
Yeah.
like a person who writes a Marvel book for 6 years or something, and then on the seventh year they say, Thor is actually a black woman, which I'm sure is coming. But like, it's like that same sort of relationship. You better continue this narrative, or I don't need you anymore. It's really like you start to understand how China became what China is, and how the culture of China of just being like the government can't do any wrong. And sometimes you think that when you watch those things, it's people who are brainwashed. But I also start to think when I see some videos that maybe it's just an entire country made up of social justice warriors, and this is how they've gotten to the point of thinking that the government can't say anything wrong. So as long as the government's telling you what to do and telling you the propaganda, you're like, yeah, of course there can be 36 genders. Like, can't you see that being the future if Joe Biden or like AOC and they keep going down this road where like men can't, there's no such thing as men, women, pregnant people, menstruators, all this other stuff, until there's a point where everybody agrees with that. And what if China is actually just a country filled with like 85 to 90% of the people are like social justice warriors, and they actually are far left, and they all agree that this is how a place should be run, and you can't say bad things. It's just a different form. Like, they've just been brought up, raised in a different form of propaganda. Whereas if it was happening here, it'd be like everybody believes there's unlimited genders. Everybody believes that there's no such thing as like just being a biological woman, that sort of thing. I could see a country just being that. And I start
Yeah.
to think about that when I see Chinese people in Australia, for example, is where I remember seeing one in an Avi video saying, yeah, the government, like, why would you say this? The government is right to like jail you for something like that.
Yeah, and that's what they want. They definitely. I mean, they're doing the brainwashing thing, and they've gotten really so good at it that, like you said, when they turn the corner, they they're already so deep into the last thing that they can't really catch on. So, and just for the record, there's never going to come a day. There will never come a day where Fauci or Eric Adams or Joe Biden or any of these people are going to say, good job, team. We did it. It's not dangerous anymore. Go ahead and live your life. That day is not coming. It's never coming. So just ignore them. Like I've been doing literally since day one of the testing facility, since day one of the mask mandate in New York. I was ignoring all of it. And
Yeah.
people are so brainwashed, bro. People are
I don't know if there's
deep.
a country in the world, I haven't seen it, where politicians come out and say, I was wrong. It's time to change course. Let's do that. Because they're all looking forward to getting reelected. Now, maybe if there was, but there is term limits in the United States for presidencies, and you didn't see anybody say, you know what, I was wrong. Like, I only got a year left. I'm going to try to veer the ship in the right direction, and we'll do the best we can. That doesn't happen. Like, George Bush never came out and said, oh, we got it wrong. There was no weapons of mass destruction. He said, mission accomplished, actually, is what he said.
Yeah. Then he made a joke about it some years later. Remember that? Like he was like,
No.
he made some joke about like, oh, I can't remember. Some event, and he basically made a joke about how like it wasn't there. You could Google it. I don't remember the exact joke, but it was like a throwaway joke. Like for anybody who was paying attention, it was like, oh, that's pretty dark. But for the the clapping seals in the audience, it was like, oh yeah, we wasted billions of dollars and killed all these people.
It's bound to happen again. They've wasted billions of dollars in Ukraine and killed many people and sided with neo-Nazis and
Well, that's a long story.
homophobes and rapists and racists. But yeah, let's go to InfoWars. NPR launches disinformation reporting team ahead of midterms. Taxpayer-funded NPR, National Public Radio, announced its launch of a disinformation reporting team ahead of midterm elections, prompting a widespread ridicule online given its history of suppressing information and labeling true stories as fake news. VP and Executive Editor Terrence Samuel and Senior Vice President of News and Editorial Director Auntie Barnes highlighted how reporters on their new, quote, disinformation, quote, team have previously covered stories with the, quote, radical wing of the gun rights movement and, quote, voting rights and election security. So, Eric, InfoWars seems to think that this is preparation for the midterms. And I seem to think that, there's always something they have to do before each one of these elections. It was banning Alex Jones and such in 2016. It was, getting rid of the Hunter Biden story in 2020. Do you agree? Do you think this is what they're doing here?
Absolutely. And it makes sense because we saw the Disinformation Governance Board come and go in the span of CNN Plus, but
Right.
NPR is government funded, so it's the same thing. And
It's just a
we've talked
different
about,
way.
yeah. So it's just it's a little loophole that they've used. And we've talked about NPR. Remember that the crazy bizarre stuff about the illustration with the guy getting a coffee and and the
Yep.
outdoor tents and asking so you're so scared of Rona, but you're having a party in your backyard and you're asking your guests for a negative test. So this makes total sense. This is news to me. I had not heard about this, but it's so predictable, right? Like, I mean, they talk about radical gun right. I mean, what's radical to the people at NPR? What's radical is like, I know a woman from the Bay Area who has been, and I asked her this, we talk on Instagram, like an old friend of mine, but I asked her this because she's like pro-life, she's like an activist, she went to DC, and she's from the Bay Area, so it's very weird, and she's a teacher, and I'm like, how, I mean, are you gonna be able to keep this job? Is it not, is the pro-choice lobby, are those people not quite as extreme as I think? And she's like, well, I've never lied about it. I've always been upfront about like my pro-choice views and how she goes to church on Sundays and all this stuff. But to me, NPR would consider a 30-year-old woman who's a high school teacher who's pro-life, that would be considered extreme. Like I mean, when we talk about this all the time, like this woman, she's as non-threatening as they possibly could come, but she doesn't like abortion, so that would be considered extreme. So if you have 2 guns in your house and you have 9mm ammo, that's, I mean, anything that doesn't absolutely, I mean, think about it, bro. If they want us to think, they are literally trying to get us to think that a woman can tell a sitting US senator that non-binary people can get pregnant. That's not extreme. Asking the question is transphobic, and of course transphobia is extreme. And like I mentioned on Instagram, I do not recommend anybody look into the actual, like, okay, here's the thing. With the transgender stuff, and I know I'm getting off track a little bit here, but with the transgender stuff, at least they have a target, right? Like, man wants to be a woman wants to be a man. You're going to miss that shot 100 times out of 100 times you try it, but at least it's a little bit more, it's a tiny bit more based in reality. But to say, oh no, I have no gender, go ahead and give me the Capri Sun straw, doc. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I promise you, if you show up at one of those quote unquote doctor these butchers, you're not going to get pregnant. Nobody who's actually made the commitment to being non-binary is ever going to get pregnant. First, because if you're a man and you try to become non-binary, you weren't going to get pregnant to begin with. But if you're a woman and you try to become non-binary, realistically, like, you actually go through with this and this is your true identity and you call the doctor, or again the butcher, I promise you, you will not be pregnant. But to the people at NPR and the Disinformation Governance Board and Nina Jankowicz and Joe Biden and all those folks, the person who says that true thing is now the extremist. So it's all upside down. You can call it clown world or whatever we've been calling it for the past couple of years, but their use of the term extreme is slightly triggering to me.
Shout out extremists. Somebody on the Getter feed says Trudeau got his haircut because he was looking too much like Castro. Rebel News just came out with a Castro Trudeau split screen t-shirt, so maybe that pushed him over the edge. Selling really well, we were told the other day, so keep it up. Eric Butler, TatumReport.com, at Report and Opine. You can watch my new episode of Andrew Says at AndrewSaysTV.com with Patriot J, rapper, writer, lawyer that we all know and love. UOPod.com. Thanks for watching on YouTube. We're back from my suspension on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the UOPod.com channel and listen on Spotify. Keep continuing to listen. It's an hour long. It's the perfect car ride into work. You hear about Lia Thomas. You hear about fat Hooters girls. You hear about Coca-Cola flavorings that trigger Eric. Anything to say before we go, young man?
Well, I just wanted to I actually just wanted to give a shout out to Bryson. He's really cooking with gas. I mean, obviously he's been a talented dude, but a a month or so ago, he came out with that song Kanye Was Right, I think, which I thought was absolutely fire. Not just because I'm a Kanye fan, but it was a dope song. And now he's got the Hunter Biden Hacked, which is
That's a great song.
yeah, which is dope. So shout out to Bryson for whatever that's worth. And naturally, check out this new project, Alt Reporter. I'm going to be posting some videos there. And we are building out some creator pages. So we're trying to get some like lefty like type of people. Of course, they don't talk, but we're going to get some people who are far less. And look, bro, just for the record, I'm not like, I didn't grow up a right-wing conservative. It's just like these people have pushed me so far with their insanity living in San Francisco and New York. So we're trying to get some people who are a little less angry about what the left is doing right now, and some people who might be a little bit more sensitive to their side of the spectrum. So we'll see how that works out. Shout out Bryson, altreporter.com. And of course, buy my book before it becomes a limited edition.
We still got to try to get our podcast on Alt Reporter. See if they'll host that over there.
I think they will.
Well, if he doesn't, we'll kill them. Anyways,
and we're banned again.
We'll see you guys next week.
Turn it up, Jordan.